All right. Had our time trying to learn. I go to therapy. Makes a difference to me. Uh,
Swimming, climbing, dancing.
that's not gonna work.
Swinging.
Right, and all of this stuff contains components, okay, and all the components are where the real work is being done. Isn't all the little grabbing, the
Yeah. All right. I'm just arguing that this work, this work word is double speak. Okay, this work word is double speak. You could say, you could say the war is happening before evolution begins genetically, or you can say the war happens after evolution starts. And for that specific reason, that there is no definitive evidence that evolution has been proven to be a derivative of the environment, the fact that human beings have not been able to process evolution or restart evolution or do a real biological experiment where they perform evolution created or they create evolution, the actual multiplication or the actual real chemical insinuation of evolution. They only derive evolution from essentially evolution because they can only take evolution from, they can only use what is already here that was derived from evolution, quantum mechanics, QM, quantum field theory. This all this stuff is clearly without without a shadow of a doubt. I don't know if it's specific truth, but it is obvious that it's obvious that quantum mechanics, with their Big Bang firecracker theory, all the simulation with the black holes, and their will to go to Mars, their will to colonize Mars, or their disingenuous spending on telescopes, is clearly doing something that is beyond reason. Therefore, it is going beyond the spectrum of what would lie within evolution or the truths that evolution entail, and that's why quantum mechanics can can play dirty with kinetic energy, and it can reason kinetic energy through their theory of energy. Now, energy is probably the most popular mechanic known to man, in that it equals mc squared, and people usually take that as mass multiplied by your constant squared, meaning that they have their beta or their b, could be binomial, which Newton was really into with his tangential geometry and theories of multiplication or calculus, all that, division, subtracting, the inverse property. That's what Newton was all about, being able to learn about the orbits in space or whatnot. I'm just saying that these are real hard. Um, I guess the constant squared, the beta, their duality, which has now turned in through Planck or the gravitational constant. Now they're constant squared, so there is a duality. Uh, there's the particle existing through the duality, which is again their beta, their atom splitter, and then they use their kinetic energy to be able to derive what is happening. Okay, not only in the past which is deceptive, which is religiously deceptive because it goes against evolution because they say that they have the answer, okay, through their periodic timetable, that they have the answer um, for how the environment created evolution, and not only that, but then uh, that also gives them that also gives them an upper hand when obviously trying to elaborate on their alien theory, because then evolution can be created anywhere. If we could figure out evolution, if we could figure out how the particles or the atoms or the work or the whatever has already whatever got us here, that's because this is because energy exists. Energy is something that exists in the future. Force is something that exists in the future. And I'm just saying, work or goddessism is how the Platonians would probably call it because it has the word God in it. It makes sense. So they have this orgotic notion that there is real, work being done, and that's God's work. Okay, this isn't power. Power, you utilize a will. You can utilize, I would say, determinism. You can utilize, or quantum mechanics. You can utilize, or energy. You can utilize, or work. You can utilize, but when it's used in double speak, when work is used in double speak, there's nothing else other than religious work, okay, like a cosmological religious work. Something has already happened in the past. It breaks evolution because you say that they have the actual answer. Quantum field theory to me, it's just sitting there and they're saying we have the answer. All the math and all that stuff. I'm interested in, but I'm not interested in. What I'm not interested in is this idea that they can break evolution. They cannot break evolution. It's absolutely impossible. It's not. Um, there's nothing out there that would ever say that it can be broken. There's nothing out there that says that the environment could ever cause evolution, and physics is trying to prove that every day and every night. They are trying to prove this theory through the biology, the chemistry, or the chemistry, the biology, etc. And they use all these sciences. I would say that physics is not even a science, it's next to philosophy, really. It's not the study of anything. We'll just say for now, logistically, because I'm not gonna. Uh, yeah, like the point was made, basically against entropy. If entropy is the final uh, stand, what does that matter? Again, entropy is a final exit. Entropy is a destination for atoms, for particles, for energy, for force, for gravity, for anything that is futuristic, and that is just the way that's just the way physics works. But you can't say um you can't use I'm just saying it's work is not is work even a real physics term? Like I don't understand it. If it's work, it's work, but work is not a scientific. Science is supposed to have solutions. Work is too way too fucking biblical for me. If you want to call everything work, then you might as well say work created the ether. um Work created the ether, the Matrix, and Jesus. For fuck's sake, it's that fucking criminal. It's that fucking bad. And I'm just saying these words, entropy. Entropy. I mean, you. I mean, there has to be like a way to understand like work is being used as something that describes an action. Okay, and these like fucking like this is a fucking joke because um physics terminology, I would say uh literally and yeah, well, just literally cannot describe an action in the universe, again, because these things are qualitative, quantitative, quantized, mathematical, philosophical, guesses, estimations, scientific method, and all that. But while you have something such as that's just double speak, like ether, ether really is double speak because you have a lot going on. Um, anything really. I mean, force. Uh, I mean, force is double speak technically because you have the police force and all that. But I'm just saying. I mean, if this is going to come down to force and work, if this is really going to come down to force and work, and you're saying that work caused the gravity and force is like the outcome. Again, again, just I'm just saying simple English. Um, work being described as uh, work being defined as something that describes an action. So I'm just saying, try to go as low as you can because it cannot go any lower than work. I mean, it's next to the matrix. It's next to the matrix. It's next to ether. I mean, you cannot go any lower in terms of double speak, meaning that it can not only describe what is happening, but it can describe what has happened, the occurrence. It's just, and that's what ether does because they have they have nothing when it comes to gravity, so they say there's no specific truth to it. Well, there's obviously a specific transition. There's obviously a specific sequence of dialogue that people should be using in terms of we are just using words, and essentially it's all verbiage. It's all occurrence and all that stuff. But I mean, there should be no detour from using something like force or energy or anything like that, especially for the word work, unless this is just this Platonian, Aristotle, Socrates shit. And I'm just saying, like, I mean, I don't know if this is an agenda. I don't know if he just is going to totally disregard just kind of the reality um, that we have a real language. Essentially, language is the only thing that can save us from religion. It's the only thing that makes us anti-Trinitarian. It's the only thing that makes us atheist. Like, uh, and so these people who just really, I mean, that's really backsliding. I don't. I mean, I might do it in 30 years, but I'm just saying it's like a real serious backslide into the past, which quantum mechanics. That's the whole trick with quantum mechanics. They take you into chemistry, they take you into biology, and they are trying to claim that they have they have substantial evidence for evolution coming from the environment when they're never going to find it, they're never going to recreate it. I'll bet my life on it. And yeah, because I mean that's how serious they played with evolution. If you listen to Richard Dawkins, uh, I mean, I obviously made a philosophical argument for the fact that we can learn. I'm just saying that we can be learning machines or learning robots. We can, I mean, and that essentially, makes us our big brains, our brains evolving, and that it essentially gives us technology and weaponry and help like allows us to take over the world essentially. Um, and in the Descartesian sense, like when we were, all around dinosaurs or came or survived the asteroid and came from rats, that's essentially what we are, and we did our brain. And so I'm just saying, I made the argument that you could make a technological advancement in saying, yeah, we learned about evolution. I just made a rebuttal against the fact that we learned about it. I wasn't denying the fact uh, that we could ever know that we came from the environment to justify an experiment to try to recreate evolution. That would be, I mean, for me, the way Dawkins explained it, uh, if you understand evolution to its fullest extent, like I've even listened to him in the past, and I'm just saying, if you do understand, um, like I've listened to Gary in the past, and I mean, he enabled me to understand evolution to its fullest extent. Therefore, eye for an eye. Like there's no way that I could ever believe in a God again because that's how uh, circumstantially and substantial like evolution actually is when you think about it in the life and death. And so anyway, I wasn't trying to make a muck or nut or anything on this because I'm gonna listen to the whole thing, but obviously I'm also trying to make a point here. So and that's just my whole rebuttal for quantum mechanics, what it's actually trying to do, and how it is all double speak, it is all verbiage, and they're describing an occurrence. Um, but the fact that they use the Big Bang firecracker theory to advance that they have some knowledge of how evolution actually precipitated is their denial of real evidence, real hard evidence of evolution, which should be the most serious fucking story on the planet. Evolution should be undeniably the most talked about story on the planet, not this fucking like pussy six mass extinction. It's like the white man's six mass extinction, and there's 20,000 species going extinct every single 5 hours. It's such fucking shit, man. So at least Darwin wrote his book, and he was able to advance his book, or some like people advanced his book enough, and that's the only book I would need. And so the fact that they played this math game, it's a metaphysical argument. That's all it is. It's a metaphysical argument. If you want to, I'm just saying, even argue with these people, it's going to be a metaphysical argument. But I wouldn't use the word work. It's next to slavery. It's next to ether. It's next to the matrix. It's next to Jesus. Um, so, I mean, I prefer these other dialogues, and I feel like dialogue is a technological advancement that we use, whether it is for actual good or just, all the bad. But it's definitely more bad, but it could be used for good. But we're not going to, really do the whole anti uh, life, pro extinction, force extinction anyway. So, I mean, that'd be uh, the final countdown. But yeah, I mean, if we make it past this whole losing oil or depopulation thing, I mean, things are just going to be. I don't know how things will be. So I mean, I'd think about that more. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm gonna listen to the rest of this video, but this is just sort of me advancing a conversation. So I don't know. It's probably with myself. I should probably admit that. I haven't done that in a while, so I'll try to humble myself.